Dear friends, it's a great privilege for me to be addressing you today and endorsing the WorldShift 20 declaration. First of all, I want to congratulate Dr. Erwin Laszlo for pioneering this effort and leading this effort. And I consider Dr. Laszlo a great mentor, a great thinker, a great pioneer actually in the shift that's happening right now, which is really necessary. We are in the midst of a major crisis. Already there are 25 to 30 million climate refugees in the world. It's estimated that within a few years there'll be over 500 million climate refugees. That means new epidemics, that means violence, that means disruption of businesses, new lines of immigration, all kinds of problems that will affect everything from economics to violence to disease and health in the world. We are in the midst of a world situation where half its population lives on less than $2 a day, and 20% of the world lives on less than $1 a day. Abysmal economic deprivation and abysmal poverty, which of course leads to all kinds of diseases, mental retardation and lack of development in children, and has other consequences. We're in the midst of a world where there is conflict, there is war, there is terrorism on every continent, in almost every nation. A world that has a lot of violence, ethnocentrism, racism, bigotry, prejudice, hatred, wars in the name of God. A world where there is social injustice. And at the same time, we have the United Nations offering a promise of the world development, the Millennium Development Goals and all kinds of goals for ecology, for the rights of women, for economic upliftment of the poor. None of these goals are being realized. So what to do? A world of social injustice, climate chaos, global warming, war, conflict, radical poverty, and violence everywhere. And so, people like Dr. Erwin Laszlo and all the signatories on the WorldShift 20 declaration are suggesting something that has never been really tried before, and that is to stop trying to solve these problems in our usual reductionist approach, which doesn't solve the problem at all. It, in fact, perpetuates these problems. And no amount of good intentions, no amount of peace activism, no amount of any activism has really made a drastic difference. If it is true that the world is a projection of our collective consciousness, then I think it's very important to realize that the only thing that will change this drastic situation holistically is a shift in our collective consciousness which reaches critical mass. And to that end, it is my plea that we all together engage in helping create this shift towards a more peaceful, just, sustainable, and healthy and happy world. We can start by being the change of ourselves, by taking a few moments of quiet in our own daily lives and asking ourselves actually, who am I? What do I really want? What's my contribution? What's my purpose? What kind of world do I want to see? What kind of world do I want to live in? What kind of world do I want my children, my grandchildren to live in? What's the role I can play in creating that world? What kind of organization do I want to lead? What kind of team members do I want to have? What can I do to help my organization grow in consciousness, my team grow in consciousness? What do I have to offer them? What do I need from them? I think if we start to ask these questions, you also start to ask ourselves the most fundamental questions like who are my heroes, my heroines in history, in mythology, in religion. We start to ask ourselves, what are my unique skills, talents, and how can I put them into action to help our world, or help our communities, help the people we love? What are the kind of relationships we want? What are the kind of relationships we want to nurture? What do we look for in a good friend? It's really not important to know the answers, but it's important to start living those questions, because life has an interesting way of moving us into the answers if we live the questions. So that's the first thing I think we need to do. Second thing we need to recognize is that if the world is a projection of our consciousness, and what we see in the world is what critical mass is doing, how can we, through our own personal transformation, mobilize social and collective transformation? And I think for this we need to help each other. We need to network with each other. We need to communicate with each other. We need to create social networks for personal and global transformation. We need to use all the technologies we have, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, organizations like the one I have, wellworld.org, the ones that Erwin Laszlo has, like the Budapest Club, and so many others. We need to all get rid of our personal and collective and institutional egos, and we need to work together to bring the knowledge of personal and social transformation. And for this we need every network possible. We need the media, we need the entertainment industry, we need the music industry, we need new storytelling, new stories, new conversations in our theater, in our cinema, in our art. We need to use the help of science so it doesn't become diabolical, but a science that says we have technologies today to communicate, to share knowledge, to share wisdom, to repair the ecosystem, and to bring about our collective transformation. We need to meditate together. We need to remember who we really are. In the great wisdom traditions of India, there's a lot of emphasis in yoga, but what is yoga? Yoga is union. The union with our source through contemplation, through self-inquiry, through meditation, but also through making decisions that are based on love and compassion and a deeper understanding that we are inseparably one. We need to develop technologies so that we can actually help each other. We can inform each other. We can support each other. The yoga of love, the yoga of understanding, the yoga of knowledge, the yoga of service, seva, satsang. Seva means service, satsang means getting together to explore the truth, to harness our collective intention, to harness our collective creativity, to harness our collective compassion, our love. If we do all this, we may indeed reach that critical mass that realizes that we are members of one body, that we are members of one energy field, that we can now use the technologies to not only impart information but knowledge and wisdom to each other, and that we are part of a single consciousness. So let's do it. We are the people that we've been waiting for. It's time for us to embark on a new adventure. Not the old adventure of the G20, which is all about, how can I make more money for myself by plundering and gouging the planet, by exploiting other people, by increasing economic disparities, by making economics out of weapons of mass destruction and destroying the ecosystem and exporting technologies of death and destruction. That's the old system. It's the old system. It's the colonial exploitation which has now extended to other countries that are becoming powerful. For us now, at a grassroots level, we need to first of all be the change we want to see in the world, but we need to communicate more with each other. We need to harness our collective intention, compassion, intention, and creativity. And we need to remember that we are all contained in one mind, and that the divine mind is now seeking our help, literally, our involvement in repairing the damage that we have caused. Nature will not be violated, and this injustice will not be violated. And if we do not remember who we are, then nature might just say the human species was an interesting experiment that did not work. But I'm optimistic that this will not happen, that the G20 WorldShift declaration is actually a move in the right direction so that we can remember who we really are and why we are here, and embark on our next phase of evolution, which is not biological evolution, but metabiological evolution, going from survival of the fittest to survival of the wisest. And wisdom is that knowledge that nurtures the chain of being, that nurtures the ecosystem, that understands our inseparability, and that moves forward with love in action. Because love without action is irrelevant, and action without love is meaningless. So let's move forward with love in action. And please know that I'm there in spirit with you, and that I'm here to serve, and that I feel very fortunate to be in the company of all the signatories of the WorldShift 20 declaration, and I'm very grateful to my mentor and my role model, Dr. Erwin Laszlo. Thank you.